The raided house on Highway 17. You may have come across this house and think of it as a pit stop to get supplies and ammo. Or be like me, skip it and get straight to the point of the story. Well actually, this house may just have a bit of an interesting backstory than you think. Someone did do a video on this, but I think I could explain it more in depth and well explained. I'm going to explain people's different perspectives on the household and what their backstory is provided by the comments of the video. If you would like to see that video for yourself, a link to it will be in the description. Okay, let's begin. This house is set on map D2_coast_09, which is the Sand Traps chapter. You can find it by coming out of the tunnel and driving a bit down the road. You will then see it on the right hand side of the road on the edge of a small cliff. When you arrive, there will be 2 Overwatch soldiers waiting for you there, with roller mines placed inside the house. The house is 3 stories high, and the only way to enter is through the massive hole in the wall at the back of the house. Inside the house, it will appear trashed and messy. There are barricaded windows, with the door being blocked by a closet. At the top floor, you will find a dead citizen near a window on the floor. Out the front, you will see a burning pile of corpses with smoke, indicating that bodies have been recently burnt. Now, there have been lots of speculations to this, but people either think that the Overwatch soldiers burnt the bodies, or the dead citizen at the top floor did. And it would make sense for the Overwatch soldiers to burn them, since the soldiers were alive when you got there. But also remember that the dead citizen hasn't been burnt yet, so he was alive most likely before the Overwatch arrived. Later in the video, I'll explore who burnt these bodies. But since there were burnt corpses, there obviously had been citizens or rebels living there beforehand, most likely using it as an outpost or shelter. Located down near the beach, you can find an old tugboat. The boat was either belonged to the rebels or the original owners of the house. There isn't much to theorize about this boat. Since seas were dried up by the Combine, this boat could have came from literally anywhere. But I'll let that for you to figure out. In the backyard behind the house, you can find 2 gravestones. These gravestones could either most likely belong to the original house owners or killed rebels that have been buried. A lot further down the shoreline, you can find a decayed body next to some ammo with a broken boat. It could have been from someone escaping before the raid, but failed and died. Now, the most likely backstory of this house. We will be talking about the previous event, the 7-Hour War. So if you don't know what the war is or have never heard about it, I suggest you watch the video linked in the description. So, now the backstory. The house was once a rebel outpost. The 2 Greys are either pre-war or some sort of squadron leaders or important figures in the outpost. They most likely died during a prior Combine attack. So after that attack, they sent out another squadron in to take out the outpost and most likely gain information on the other bases of the resistance on the coast. The dead man on the 2nd floor could have hid while the others were killed and burnt. He could have hid since they may have brought a cremator with them to burn the bodies. Since cremators are tall and scary, he could have got scared and hid while the other Combine were installing the roller mines. The last 2 Combine were probably finishing up before leaving, and the cremator could have took off after burning the corpses. The man was most likely getting ready to avenge his friends by taking the crossbow and killing the soldiers before escaping. But the roller mines they placed probably got to him and killed him in the process. As for the ship, it was most likely owned by the pre-war family that lived there. And the supply crates maybe suggest that the rebels would have used that boat as a panic shelter, as it was close and well armoured, where they could have had their last stand of sorts or maybe just a supply area. Now as for the burning corpses outside. If you didn't know, when you go to Eli's lab in Black Mesa East, you can find a cremator head in a jar. For this, people consider the cremators canon, and also because of all the burnt corpses everywhere in the game. Mark Laidlaw, which is one of the writers from the Half-Life series, said they still exist somewhere in the Half-Life universe, so it's always a possibility. So, the most likely theory is that a cremator came alongside them to burn any bodies the Combine had killed. But let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think happened? Now, I know this may be a stretch, but the burnt corpses may be a reference to Star Wars. If you didn't know, in Star Wars episode A New Hope, Luke finds his aunt and uncle burned. Loads of comments were implying that this was a Star Wars reference, but what do you think? Well guys, that concludes the theory of the raided house. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys would like to see more similar Half-Life stories, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching.